Hello, Math 7 students. This is the video for Module 2, Lesson 9. And in our comp book, Module 2, Lesson 9 is Understanding Multiplication of Integers, and we can find that on page 65. So turning to page 65 in my comp book. And what we're going to be working on today is understanding multiplication of integers. Our goal for today we will revisit what multiplication means and how integers respond to multiplication. The question that I want you to be thinking about in this lesson is, what is the meaning of each integer being multiplied in an expression? They have parts, and each part has a specific job. And because it has a specific job, it helps you figure things out, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, first thing that I want you to look at is this. Okay, this is called integer multiplication, and what we have on our paper here is we have two expressions. The first expression is 3 times a negative 5. The second expression is 5 times a negative 3. And in the question of the lesson, it's asking you what is the meaning of each integer being multiplied. Well, let's talk about it. The 3 in this expression represents the number of groups. The negative 5 in this expression represents the numerical value. So this multiplication problem is really saying, what is 3 groups of negative 5? So that means I have negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5 because I'm taking 3 groups of negative 5 and I'm adding them together. So I have negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5. And then that would give me the answer of 3 times the negative 5. Well, if you look at this one, it looks very similar, and believe it or not, you will get the same answer, but you have 5, which is the number of groups, times negative 3, which is the numerical value. So the way we read this problem is we say, what is 5 groups of negative 3? So that means I'm taking negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3. So if we try it and we use that information that we just learned, we have 3 groups of negative 5. So I have negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5. Well, if I draw that up really quickly on a number line, and here's 0, and it tells me, oops, nope, let's not put 0 there. Let's put 0 over here. And it says that I have 3 groups of negative 5, so that means I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is negative 5. That would be one of them. Then I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be 2 of them, right? And then it said I had one more, which was 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be my third set of negative 5, which gives me an answer of negative 15. So I now know that 3 times a negative 5 gives me an answer of negative 15. Okay, well, let's try the other one. The other one said 5 groups of negative 3. So let's see what happens with that one. So again, I'm going to use the number line to help me. Or no, this time I don't want to do the number line. I want to use the chip model so that you can see that. So my numerical value is 3 negatives. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and make them all negative. But what this says is I have 5 of those. So there's 1. Here's 2. There's 3. There's 4. And there's 5. Okay? This is 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. And so now, since I have 5 groups of negative 3, I just have to see how many negatives I have. So count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 negatives. So the answer on this one is negative 15 as well. So as you can see, we have several things going on right now. We have a positive times a negative. Let me say that again. A positive times a negative. Well, on the number line, when you take 3 groups of negative 5, what happens to your answer? It comes out negative. Interesting. Okay, on this one, I have a positive times a negative. I have 5 groups of -3, and a positive times a negative still gave me a negative answer. Interesting. So you're learning something right now. A positive times a negative gives me a negative in both situations. So we're learning something there. Okay, so let's see what we have to do next. The next question that I have for you is, can you have negative groups? Because remember, the first number in your math multiplication sentence is the number of groups. So the question is, can you have negative groups? So the answer is, if the integer that represents the group is negative, it means that that amount is being taken away or it's going away. So if this number right here happens to be negative, if it said -3 groups of -5, that means you're taking those 3 groups away. Okay, and so let's see what's happening. So we have -3 groups of a +5. So let's look at it. So I still have 3 groups, but they happen to be taken away. So I have 5 is a numerical value, so I have 3 groups of 5, but we're taking them away. So I have 5 plus 5 plus 5, but I'm taking them away. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, how many did I lose? Well, I lost 15 because they're going away. I lost 15. So the answer would be -15 because I lost 15. Okay, so the same thing happening over here. We have -5 groups of +3. So I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 because there's 5 of them. But because this says right here that it's negative, that means I'm taking them away. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, how many did you lose? Well, you lost 15, so the answer is -15. Okay? So what I would like you to do, now that you know these 2 things and it's telling you the number of groups, I would like you to practice them. So we have, practice these. You have 5 times a -2, so that looks very similar to that one. Hopefully you remember what we did. You have -2 times 8. Ooh, that looks similar to that one, so remember what we did. Remember, when it's going away, that means you lost them. You lost them. So the question is, how many did you lose? How many did you lose? How many did you lose? I'm pointing to those to help you remember. You have 6 times a -4, which looks like those up there. And then you have a -7. You're losing some, times 3. And tell me what you get when you do that. Okay? All right, so that's not the end of our lesson. We're going to keep going. The next part of the lesson that I want to share with you is another way to look at it is by using the number lines. And the number lines have become very, very helpful to a lot of you. So another way is we have -3 groups of 5. So we can now, in another way, think of this as your number of groups still, but it also tells you the direction you're going as long as you use the number line. The 5 tells you how long the arrow has to be. So we have 3 groups that are going to the left because that's negative, and the arrow, 3 groups of arrows, the arrows have to be 5 spaces. So again, here's my number line. We started at 0, drew an arrow that was 5 to the left, drew another arrow that was 5 to the left, and drew another arrow that was 5 to the left, and where we ended up was at -15. All right, same thing over here. We have a -5, so that's telling us the arrows go to the left. It also tells us that we have to have 5 groups of 3 this time going to the left. So I'm starting at 0, I'm going to 3 to the left, 3 to the left, 3 to the left, 3 to the left, and 3 to the left. And what answer did I land on again? -15. So another thing that helps us with this is you can identify this stuff before you draw them, and that really helps you. So our arrow length was 5, and the direction and number of groups was to the left, 3 groups. So the arrow length was 3, the direction and the number of groups was to the left, and 5 of those arrows. Okay? So going to the left on the number line represents a negative number group. So this is just another way to help you out, to help you remember that you have a negative times a positive, and you're going to get a negative answer. A negative times a positive, and you're going to get a negative answer. On this one, if you look over here, we had a positive times a negative, and you got a negative answer. Here's our proof right here, remember? A positive times a negative, and we got a negative answer. A positive times a negative, and we got a negative answer. A negative, look back over here, a negative times a positive, we got a negative answer. And a negative times a positive, we got a negative answer. So you're starting to see a pattern, I hope. All right, so I have some more practice problems that I would like you to do. These are the ones that I'm going to be checking on the board when you get in tomorrow. So practice these with a number line. You need to show me 4 groups of -5. So that means you're going to do 4 arrows, each -5. So that means you're going to have to go to the left 5 spaces. You have 8 groups of 2, but they're going to the left because of that symbol. You have 7 groups of -3, so you're going to draw 7 groups of 3 arrow lengths going to the left. You have 4 groups going to the left that are the length of 9. You have 2 groups going to the left, the length of 6, and you have 1 group going to the left that has the length of 10. So make sure you're showing that on the number line for me. All right, my darlings, let's take a look at our goal really quick. Today we will revisit with what multiplication means and how integers respond to multiplication. So we talked about what those multiplication stuff means. We labeled it, so hopefully that's helping you. What is the meaning of each integer being multiplied in the expression? Remember, the first one is the number of groups. The second one is the numerical value. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 practice problems on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 practice problems on this side, so you should be good to go. All right, that's it, my dears. That's the end of the lesson, and I will see you all tomorrow.